Certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. The Witch. So I saw The Witch last night. It got released in the UK yesterday. Is The Witch really that scary? Stephen King himself said, "The Witch scared the hell out of me." And it's a real movie, tense and thought-provoking, as well as visceral. But The Witch, now, for a first time directing and writing, I think that Robert Eggers has done a good job, and for a debut film, it's a good job. But is The Witch really that original, or thought-provoking, or scary? In my opinion, it's really not that scary. It's not even terrifying. There was all these reviews that were coming out saying it was unnerving and just terrifying. You won't be able to sleep after seeing this. It's creepy. And I'm someone that's all for slow burn horror, and I'm someone that likes these folklore films and films about witches. It's something that's always interested me, but The Witch is just so bland and dull and just doesn't really have anything truly amazing going for it. Slow burn is something that does really work in a lot of horrors. And I know we've had these slow burn movies recently where we've just done slow burn and then it gets to the end and you get the crazy thing. But if you're going to do slow burn, at least have interesting things happening throughout. Now I know people are going to be like, hey, but there's really great cinematography and interesting ideas throughout. But for me, there wasn't really anything that interesting. It's pretty dull. From the start of the film, you have this really weird thing happening with a baby, and you think from that moment that the film's going to turn into this weird, disturbing movie, and I was genuinely excited to see what it did. I was genuinely thinking to myself, hey, this is going to get really creepy and disgusting, and all these weird things are going to happen, like everyone had been saying. I thought this was generally going to be a film that would terrify me, like so many people had been saying, but it doesn't. It for itself, it's good that it didn't feel the need to have jump scares. This is a film that doesn't have jump scares to frighten you, but from that, it doesn't really have anything else that terrifies. Now, I know we've got this idea of witches that could be creepy or scary, but there's nothing ever there that is scary. There's a part where the film does get a little bit weird, and there's something on screen where this really weird thing happens with involving a goat and then something else. And that part sort of is the weirdest thing and the creepiest thing about the film, but there's nothing that makes you go home and think to yourself, hey, that was really, really terrifying. For me, for it to work in this oldie English folklore, it is interesting for the script. You know, they're writing it where he and like the is scared and all these sort of things. They talk like that, but the was not scared by this film. And there's moments where that whole language, there's moments where you don't understand anything that they are saying, and you're just like, oh, I don't understand what that person just said. There's ideas of possession as well, but when those parts happen, there's a moment where it's just really badly acted. There's moments where things are really badly acted, and there's just moments where things aren't explained. I know we don't. It's like, hey, we don't have to have everything explained to us, but there's moments where things happen and no one really questions it, and people just carry on doing what they're doing, and everyone is just stupid, and people just put themselves in these terrible situations. You have these really weird things that happen, and then later on you never find anything about it. The Witch just isn't that good for me, that in my opinion. I know there's many other people that think it's amazing, but for me, this is a film that is going to have a love and hate reaction to it. But I just really was excited for this. This was one of my most anticipated films of this year, and I'm just very disappointed. Like I said, I'm all for slow burn horror, and I love so many slow burn horrors, but this is a slow burn horror that didn't work for me. It just turned out being very dull and not being terrifying, like so many people have said. So for me, no, The Witch isn't scary in the slightest. And it's so many things we've seen before. Like, there's so many other witch movies that are like this, so many old folklore films that are like this. Just Even Hocus Pocus is a better witch film than this. Sorry, but just had to say that. So The Witch only gets a 2 out of 5 from me. It's very dull and isn't terrifying in the slightest. So that's all for today. If you have seen The Witch, tell me in the comments down below if you enjoyed it. What's your favourite slow burn horror? For me, slow burn horror is sort of The Innkeepers. That was one of my favourites. And there is some other stuff that I need to check out, some other slow burn horrors. But what's your favourite slow burn horror? And yes, did you enjoy The Witch if you saw it? What's your favourite old folklore film or film about witches? Let's talk about that. That's all for today. Thank you very much, and I'll see you again very, very soon. Goodbye.